Welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're diving into archetypes.
Oh, yeah.
These universal patterns of behavior and thought.
Right.
And specifically, we're going to be looking at the ruler archetype.
Fascinating stuff.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think this is going to give us some insights into leadership, motivation, and even just, our own personal journeys.
It's interesting, this idea of the ruler archetype goes way back to Carl Jung.
Oh, wow.
A famous psychologist who first really kind of dug into these universal patterns that we find in our collective unconscious.
Interesting.
And so what's fascinating is that archetypes act like blueprints for human behavior.
Right.
These are ancient recurring patterns that pop up everywhere, from myths and legends to our everyday lives.
So think of archetypes like characters in a play.
Yeah.
Right? Those classic roles we all kind of recognize.
Right.
And so today's starring role goes to the ruler.
I like that starring role.
Yeah.
Because often that's how the ruler presents, front and center.
Yeah.
At the core of this archetype is a drive for structure, order, and control.
Okay.
So it's about creating stability and security, whether that's, running a country, managing a team,
Right.
or even just keeping your sock drawer perfectly organized.
So it's that person who just walks into a room and you instantly know
Oh, yeah.
they're in charge.
Yeah, you can spot a ruler a mile away.
Right.
They just have this natural magnetism, this ability to command a room without even raising their voice.
But you know what I find really interesting about this whole ruler archetype?
Yeah.
Is this idea that they're really drawn to legacy.
Ah.
What's that all about?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Rulers are often builders. They establish systems, they erect institutions, they create things that are meant to last.
Yeah.
And so it's not just about power for power's sake.
Yeah.
It's about leaving a mark on the world, making a difference that extends beyond their own lifespan.
Right. So it's more than just, calling the shots.
Right.
There's this deeper motivation behind their actions.
Yeah.
Like those historical figures who shaped entire civilizations.
Oh.
Or even just, that friend who always spearheads those epic group trips.
Right.
And make sure everything runs like clockwork.
Yeah, they're driven by a vision.
Yes.
A need to create something meaningful.
Exactly. And that kind of ties into another defining trait, I think, of the ruler.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Which is ambition.
Ambitious.
Right?
Yeah.
They're often high achievers.
Yeah.
Driven by a desire to achieve something great, to leave their mark on the world.
Right.
They thrive on challenges.
Yeah.
And they find immense satisfaction in seeing their vision come to life.
Absolutely.
But as we know,
Uh-oh.
every strength can have its shadow side.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what happens when that desire for order and control
Yeah.
goes a little too far? When does the ruler archetype tip over into something a little less healthy?
Well, that's when we start to see the shadow side emerge. And this is where things get really interesting. Because often it stems from a place of fear. Remember, the ruler's core drive is to create order and stability.
Right.
So when things feel chaotic or uncertain, that fear can kick in, leading to an overcorrection in the form of excessive control.
So it's like they're trying to build a fortress around themselves.
Right.
Keeping anything unpredictable or chaotic at bay.
Exactly.
We've all encountered that type.
Oh, yeah.
The micromanaging boss.
Yeah.
The friend who plans every detail of a hangout down to the minute. Or even that family member who insists on doing things their way or no way at all.
Oh, yeah.
Not exactly the most inspiring or fun to be around.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And that's where the ruler's inflexibility can become a real problem.
Okay.
When they become so focused on maintaining the status quo, they can miss out on opportunities for growth and innovation.
Right.
In fact, they might even actively resist change.
Oh, wow.
Clinging to old systems and ideas even when they're clearly not working anymore.
So it's almost like they're working against their own goals.
Right.
They want to create stability.
Yeah.
But their resistance to change actually creates more instability in the long run.
Precisely. And that rigidity can also impact the relationships with others.
Oh, sure.
Think about a leader who refuses to listen to their team's feedback, or a parent who tries to control every aspect of their child's life.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for resentment and rebellion.
It reminds me of that saying.
What's that?
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
I like that.
You can try to control every aspect of a situation.
Right.
But ultimately, people need to feel empowered to make their own choices.
Exactly. And that's why the key for the ruler is finding that balance
Okay.
between control and flexibility, finding that sweet spot where they can harness their strengths without succumbing to their shadow side,
Right.
that's the real challenge.
Yeah, how do they do that?
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
A really good question.
We'll have to dive into that more, I think, after the
right.
break. So how does a ruler walk that tightrope?
Right.
How do they harness those positive leadership qualities
Yeah.
without, falling into that trap of becoming a control freak?
Well, it all comes down to self-awareness
Okay.
and a willingness to evolve.
Uh-huh.
The most effective rulers are the ones who can acknowledge their own tendencies towards control and then actively work to balance those tendencies with qualities like empathy and flexibility.
So it's not about suppressing that inner drive for order.
Right.
But it's about channeling it in a healthy and constructive way.
Exactly.
Oh.
Remember, the ruler's desire for structure and order can be incredibly beneficial.
Right.
It's what allows them to create stability, to set clear goals, and to inspire others to achieve great things.
Right.
But they need to learn to wield that power responsibly.
Okay.
For the benefit of everyone, not just themselves.
So it's about using that power to empower others.
Yes.
Not to overpower them.
Exactly.
So what are some practical tips for those who, identify with the ruler archetype?
Right.
How can they become the kind of leader that people actually want to follow?
Well, one of the most important things is learning to delegate.
Okay.
Trusting others to take ownership and make decisions. Not only lightens the ruler's burden, but it also helps those around them to grow and develop their own leadership skills.
So it's about creating a collaborative environment where everyone feels valued and respected, not just dictated to what else? Any advice on navigating that, tricky balance between control and flexibility?
Rulers need to embrace change.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It can be.
For a ruler. To loosen their grip on the reins. And kind of embrace the unknown.
But remember, true strength lies in adaptability.
Okay.
Think of a captain navigating a ship through stormy seas.
Okay.
They need a steady hand to guide the vessel.
Right.
But they also need to be flexible enough to adjust their course when the winds change.
Wow. That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
So it's not about clinging to the old ways just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's about being strategic.
Yeah.
And knowing when to hold firm and when to let go.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, rulers need to cultivate empathy.
Okay.
It's about understanding and connecting with the people they lead, not just seeing them as pawns in their grand plan.
Right.
When a ruler can tap into that sense of shared humanity, it transforms their leadership style from one of dominance to one of genuine inspiration.
Okay, so it's not just about power, it's about purpose.
Yes.
Leading with integrity, compassion, and a genuine desire to make things better.
Exactly.
That's the kind of ruler I can get behind.
And here's the thing. We all have the potential to embody the ruler archetype.
Wait, really?
Absolutely.
You're saying we all have an inner ruler just waiting to be crowned?
Absolutely. It's about recognizing those aspects of ourselves that crave structure, that strive for excellence, and that feel a sense of responsibility for others. Think about it, the parent who sets clear boundaries for their children, the friend who organizes that epic camping trip, or even the person who steps up to lead a community project.
Right.
They're all tapping into that ruler energy.
So it's not about ruling over others.
Right.
It's about mastering those inner qualities of leadership.
Exactly.
Even in our personal life.
Exactly. And the more we understand this archetype, the more we can harness its power for good.
Okay.
It's about recognizing our own strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Learning to balance control with flexibility, and using our influence, no matter how big or small, to make a positive impact.
So what does this all mean for our listener today? Why should they care about understanding this whole ruler archetype thing?
Because it can be incredibly beneficial in various aspects of life.
Okay.
It can help you become a more effective leader at work, build stronger relationships with your friends and family, and even navigate your own personal growth journey.
Okay.
By recognizing the patterns and motivations of the ruler, we can better understand ourselves and the world around us.
It's like having this secret decoder ring for human behavior.
Right.
Helping us understand why people act the way they do, and how we can communicate and interact more effectively.
Precisely. And who knows, maybe this exploration will inspire you to step into your own ruler energy, to embrace those leadership qualities, and become the confident, compassionate individual you were always meant to be.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a powerful thought.
It is.
It's not just about, understanding those out there who seem to naturally lead,
Right.
but it's recognizing that potential in ourselves, too.
Exactly. And, that's where things get really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Because once you start to see the world through this lens of archetypes, you begin to notice them everywhere.
Oh, wow.
You start to see how the ruler archetype plays out in different contexts.
Okay.
From politics and business to art and even personal relationships.
So it's like having a new set of glasses.
That's a great way to put it.
Right, you put them on.
Yeah.
And suddenly you see things you never noticed before.
And as you become more attuned to these patterns, you start to understand the motivations behind people's actions.
Interesting.
You start to see why some people are drawn to positions of authority, while others prefer to work behind the scenes.
Right.
You start to understand the dynamics of power and how they play out in different situations.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on those history books, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All those kings and queens, presidents and revolutionaries, they were all embodying the ruler archetype in their own unique ways.
Absolutely. And think about the different forms those legacies took.
Oh, wow.
Some rulers built empires. Others established lasting institutions. Yeah. Some were known for their military prowess, others for their artistic patronage.
Right.
But they all shared that drive to create something that would outlast them, to leave a lasting imprint on the world.
That really makes you think about the different ways people express their leadership.
It does.
Right. It's not just about conquering lands or building monuments.
Right.
It can also be about, creating social change.
Yeah.
Inspiring artistic movements, or even just building a strong and loving family.
Precisely. The ruler archetype isn't limited to those in positions of formal authority.
Okay.
It's about a mindset, a way of approaching the world with a sense of purpose and responsibility.
So how can our listeners start to apply these insights in their own life?
Right.
What are some concrete steps they can take
to
tap into their inner ruler?
Well, first and foremost, it's about becoming aware of your own tendencies.
Okay. Do you naturally gravitate towards leadership roles? Do you find yourself taking charge in group situations? Or maybe you're more comfortable supporting others from behind the scenes?
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer here.
Sure.
It's simply about understanding your own natural inclinations.
So it's about self-reflection.
Yeah.
Taking a look in the mirror and figuring out how those ruler qualities show up in your own life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you have a better understanding of your own tendencies, you can start to develop those qualities in a conscious and intentional way.
Okay.
Maybe it's about taking on more responsibility at work, or stepping up to lead a community project.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's about setting clearer boundaries in your personal relationships.
Right.
Or simply becoming more organized and disciplined in your daily life.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about taking those big ideas about archetypes and bringing them down to earth, making them practical and applicable to our everyday lives. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Well, that's it.
There will be times when you stumble, when you fall back into old patterns of behavior.
Right.
But the key is to keep learning, to keep growing, and to keep striving to become the best version of yourself.
Well, folks, there you have it. We've explored the ruler archetype from its powerful strengths to its shadowy pitfalls and everything in between.
We have.
We've learned how this ancient pattern of behavior continues to shape our world today. And how we can all tap into its energy to become more effective leaders.
Right.
Build stronger relationships, and ultimately live more fulfilling lives.
Absolutely.
And as always, we encourage you to continue exploring this fascinating topic on your own.
Yeah, there's so much more to learn.
There is a whole world of archetypes out there just waiting to be discovered.
That's right.
Each offering its own unique insights into the human experience.
Yeah.
So keep diving deep, keep asking questions, and keep that inner ruler shining bright. Until next time, stay curious.